Right. Greetings from Belgium, and we're going to try something new today. We're going to try and video document working on the Corvette. We have our cup of coffee, going to my backyard garage. We'll check this out. And the start up. Fuel injected, so you have to let it, for some reason when it's cold, spritz once. Just spritzed once. Do it again. Spritz twice. And you're good to go. Now we're going to back out. Sigh. Filthy in here from that last race we had. Ridiculous amount of dirt was kicked up. Kind of annoyed about that. A lot of work to clean this up. Now the ticking seems to come from over here, number 3, exhaust or intake. I think the exhaust one is the problem. So we're going to pop off this valve cover and see what we can find out underneath there. Another thing that we're trying to do here is to take our time, take it easy, and enjoy the process. Something I'm notoriously bad at doing. I always tend to rush these things. So the one that I think is damaged is one of these two right here. So I might fire this up. That's interesting. This lock looks a little lower down than the other two. If you can see that, it looks like this one is deeper in the hole than that one. And we'll fire it up and see if we can hear some clicking coming from one or the other one. Threw this thing on a modified Mickey Thompson valve cover that I cut a few years back. And I hate this part. I hate it because it's loud, it's noisy, difficult to focus. So what I'm going to try and do now is adjust the valve lash on just this fellow right here, using the intake open, exhaust closed method, and see if, I can make this thing go away, or if there's some damage inside there. And so I bumped it over the key, ignition disconnected, exhaust is opening. So we're going to adjust the intake valve, which is this guy right here. So the exhaust is just beginning to open. We'll see what this is like. Now at this point, this fellow right here should be loose, and I'm not feeling anything loose about it. All right, let's crack that open and adjust it. While we're at it, inspecting the parts for damage. I'm not seeing anything here. Not seeing any problems here either. While we're at it, we're checking the wear pattern on the top of the valve. It seems to be right in the center, but again, there's not much wear whatsoever on this thing. It's very, very new. I don't see any issues. And while that's done, so essentially the nice thing about Polylocks is you just sort of swivel them down all the way till it snugs up, and you can feel immediately when all the lash is out. It's not like on these self-locking nuts where it's difficult to feel when you've taken all the lash out. So just sort of spin them down, and when you feel all the lashes out, you can twirl that a little bit too if you want. It's tough to feel with this guide plate in the way. Then I gave it a half a turn extra, tightened the lock nut, and pretty much just gave it a little bit of an extra little tiny twist here to make sure that that lock nut is secure. So at this point, let's fire it up and see if that clacking is gone. My suspicion is it ain't gonna be. Could it be? think I'm going to call that good. From my perspective, this guy looked in too deep. I was expecting it to be the one that was on the looser side and to have an issue on it. Turns out to be this one was just fine. The clacking was coming from that one, so probably this was the one that needed to be tightened up. And it looks like that fixed the problem. So I'm going to take it out for a short drive. And then again, one of the issues that I had is this clacking sound would go away when the engine warmed up. So the proof will be tomorrow if I do a cold start to see how much of a racket this thing makes. So I'll see. Right now we'll take it out for a short drive and just enjoy the thing. Okay, so buttoning this thing up. And I have to admit that I really am upset about how much dirt is on this engine, and probably part of it is that I had to remove, there's a shield below, and I thought that was for, I didn't understand why it had any impact whatsoever on the ventilation, but my guess now is it's more than anything else a splash shield, so things are splashing up from down there. I still have it, and the reason I removed it is because there was some interference with, if I recall correctly, the Borkson steering box and the fan. So I'm going to have to find some way to put that back in, I think, to keep this thing a little tidier than it is. And of course these things are god-awful, so I'm going to have to try and find a prettier solution than that. I really find that it's repulsive. Now we'll see. Can we steam clean these things or something? Because cleaning this by hand looks like a fucking major drag. Alrighty, let's power it up. Spritz. That's nice. That's much nicer. Shut this thing just to prove that I can. Yeah, and it works both ways. Woohoo! And the next thing to fix is the door ajar light. Why the hell that's acting up now? No idea. My door is shut. Yeah, I checked. Performed perfectly, other than it seems that I lost my ammeter again, but I think I have that fused, so it's probably not going to be too much of an issue to fix. So here we are idling away. I think it's shaking a little bit too much. Other than that, it seems fine, but not shake. Maybe it's just because the thing has a choppy idle, who knows, a bit of a lope. What do you guys think? Yeah. I don't know if you can see that there, but I think that's a blown fuse. And I fused the ammeter. I had to fix the ammeter once. I'm not going to do it again. Better this way. Fuse it. Well, that fixed it. Right. Well, I think I'm going to end on this. This is a good note. We fixed that ammeter, which was sort of, okay, whatever. Didn't know it was broken. Easy fix. The short basically came from the wiper insulation. The window wiper motor had a bad insulation that I fixed, and that shorted out and blew that. Well, assuming it's that. And we fixed that tick. At least I think I did. We'll try it again tomorrow to see if it's there on a cold start. now I'm going to start exploring cold starts. I think it's kind of stupid to have a fuel-injected engine that you have to spritz twice to get it to start. You should just be able to turn the key and go. That's the whole point of it. Now it's got a good cold idle and whatnot. Just, I don't like very much the fact that I have to spritz it twice before starting. You should just turn the key and go. So, unfortunately, this is a Summit brand. Unfortunately, this is a Summit brand, so I think it's Phytec, same, an old generation Phytec. And that's the ECU right there. So we'll have to sort of figure this out. So other than that, I think I'm going to call it a day. Man, this thing is dirty.